Well, hey, LTD family, welcome back to another episode of the LTD Leadership Lean In, where our goal is to help you lead like never before in your hotel and in your home. I'm Sam, your host, and I'm joined with Richard here.
Yes, and I'm very excited that this will be our first official interview episode where we're bringing somebody from the field who actually practices and just doesn't tell you. And so for our first interviewee, I'd like to present James Coleman, General Manager of the Residence Inn Chesapeake. And stay tuned till the end because we'll have an offer for you to win a special gift. So let's take it away.
Enjoy.
All right, James, we are so excited to have you here. How's it feel to be the first interviewee of this world famous podcast?
It is definitely a pleasure. Number one, I'll say. Number two, a little nerve wracking, a little bit. I wonder how this is going to go. I hope I give the right answers and I'm able to, give some great feedback and give some great answers that'll be able to help people in the future. Who knows? We'll see.
Well, I hope you feel honored. You absolutely should. So, I guess for those
James, that's not true. We are honored that you joined us. So, I'm gonna correct Richard on that, but we are so honored to have you, have your wisdom and this opportunity for you to impart your wisdom upon all of our listeners, because you have so much value to bring, and so we have so much to learn from you. So we're very excited for this conversation.
Yeah.
Well, I guess let's get things started. If you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, first hotel position, and then really what got you to here, just so people who don't know you know what brings you to your current role.
Yeah. I can start off with I have my parents are from the country. I'll say that. So we're very, very, I don't want to say simple, but just easygoing, I'd say. But my father was in the military for 30 years. So I was one of those children. I call myself a military child back in the day, never a military brat, because I didn't get what I wanted all the time. That's not how it worked for me. But I was actually born in Germany. I lived in Alexandria, Virginia. Most of my family is in Macon, Georgia. I was in South Carolina, Columbia for a while. And then I've been in Virginia Beach, I'd say now for 15, 16 years. And I think, kind of flowing into how I kind of started and got with hotels and why I feel like I'm where I'm at today is because I've had that transition of being able to be all over the world at a young age. So I've seen a lot of different things. I've been around a lot of different people already. And I missed out. I was in Korea for 3 years too. I almost forgot that part. So I've seen a lot of different things. For me to be, I would like to say I'm still young, of course, but I've had a lot of experiences, and I think it helped me when it comes to just dealing with different walks of life, to be honest. So my first hotel was back in 2012 or 2011. I was at the Courtyard by Marriott on 37th Street on the oceanfront.
Okay.
I actually started off as a front desk seasonal from a friend who helped me get out of the dry cleaning business because I was working at Zoots before that. And I was able to go from seasonal to full-time front desk to a front desk supervisor to a front office manager to an AGM and now a GM. So I just kind of worked myself up from the bottom and just try to make it work.
Wow.
Yeah, that was it sounds like you did that a relatively quick process too, huh?
Yeah, I will say this. Let's be realistic. Again, I've been in hotels since 2011, but I always beat myself up about this all the time. My first 4 years I would say 3.5 years of hotels, I was just young and just had a job. It didn't really look into wanting to grow. But I will say once I hit that switch, actually, my dad was the one who told me. He watched me at the front desk on the oceanfront one day, and I was able to be so good at doing so many things at once, right? Multitasking just very, very well, and it came very, very natural. And I remember telling my dad, I was like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna go manage artists." He was like, "What?" He's like, "No, I think you're good at what you're doing right now. Maybe you should stick with it." and I listened to him. You know, I respect my father a lot, so that had a lot to do with it. And I just kind of put my head down and started actually working hard. And it was seemed to be honest, to go back to what Richard was saying, it took no time. I feel like to kind of move up in the ranks. So
Yeah, once you saw it as an opportunity, a career, and not a job,
correct.
that's when things started to change for you.
Definitely, the question. I
Yeah.
started to look at it way differently. So yeah.
Yeah, I can speak firsthand too. It's one of those things that you fall into the career once you commit yourself. You realize that it is fully whatever position you're in. Once you commit, you can rise very fast. So I guess, as you were rising up, or even your experiences prior to the hotel industry have probably affected or made you who you are as a leader today. I mean, can you think back to any of those that you would like to pinpoint as what got you to this point?
Yeah, like before hotels, do you mean? Or?
Oh, whatever. We're winging it. Whatever you think tells a better story.
No, I got you. To be honest, just learning from my past mistakes too, right? Learning from people around me, being able to have that conversation with with myself to say, hey, what do I want in life, right? That didn't come. I guess I could say I'm blessed to say that that came when I was 18, 19 years old. I didn't have to wait till I was 25, 26, 27 years old to tell myself that, hey, do something with yourself, right? But honestly, it came around from a lot of people around me. I went to school at Cox High School, and you see people who I thought were really, really, really smart, and they would, you would think that they would be rich by now. And then you realize that, they're sitting in the same spot that I am, right? If not worse. So I just had to just come up with the decision myself to just make sure that I put myself in the best position to make myself successful, so that my younger brother can follow my footsteps, so that my younger cousin can follow my footsteps, and so I can actually be that person, a voice to help them out, so they can have that confidence to do whatever it is that they want to do. But to be honest, seeing other people fall is what actually made me really, really nervous, and pretty much made myself have to make a decision to, hey, make it happen. And to be honest, whether if it was going to be hotels, whether if it was going to be washing cars, whether if it was going to be selling cars or working at a golf, whatever it was going to do, I was going to do my best at it, and I was going to do my best to be the best at it. So to be honest, I feel like I'm one of those people. Doesn't matter what it is, you put me in it. I don't necessarily know how to do it at that time, but I will figure it out, and I will do my best to be the best. And that's just who I am. So I don't know.
James, so one of the things that I think you and I connected on early on, or something that I had saw inside of you, was your background in sport and athletics, specifically team sports. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about how your background in team sports, how you think that helped shape you as a leader, and how you've learned and used some of the lessons learned from youth, right, all the way up through adulthood. How you've taken some of these lessons from sport, from team sport, and applied them to your leadership philosophies today, as a general manager of a hotel.
So I'll start by saying that I feel like I was blessed to have the mentality to like always want to win, right? Mm-hmm. I can't help but have that feeling that I feel like if I don't win, then I'm wrong almost, right? But then I also have to grow into and understand that you're not going to win everything. That's just not how life works, unfortunately. So that comes with it. But when it comes to just that team setting, I grew, because I wanted to win so much, I grew into understanding that every position has a great value to it. Not one person can literally help you win. Again, LeBron James couldn't do it by himself with any other team, and he's considered one of the best basketball players to ever live. So even with that being said, just knowing that positions are super important, and then from there understanding everybody's strengths and weaknesses, so you can put them in the best position so they can be successful. That's in any sport. I mean, I ran track, I played baseball, played football. Everybody plays basketball, I feel like. So when it comes to that, you have to I'm the one to want people on my team to be successful. So I'm going to put you in the best space. I'm not going to sit here and just allow you to, number one, allow you to let us lose. That's number one. And number two, I want you to look good while we're winning. So we have to make sure that we're all in the correct spaces in order to prosper, essentially. But I think that's the same mindset that I've kind of taken everywhere, right? Where can I put this individual so we can be successful, where they can be successful, where I can be successful? And I think that just kind of coincides with everything that I do. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, to this day, I still play flag football. If I feel like I'm not a quarterback, but guess what? If we're not doing well at quarterback, then I guess I'll take over.
I love it. I love that thought.
Yeah, James, from the very beginning, when I first met you, I always felt what I called from you confidence without cockiness. And it is a thin line to walk down. And I find a lot of our leaders, even ones who have been in the position for a while, to especially the ones first starting off, often feel that they don't quite deserve their position they've gotten into. Sometimes you just get elevated because you were good at your last one, but you feel like you're faking it. Or, what some people call imposter syndrome. I mean, in conversation with you, I would assume that that's not a problem that you have, but sometimes we hide that. How do you ever feel that, or do you ever feel like
I thought about that, right? I don't think it's the same sense of me not feeling deserving, right? I have another sense of, I don't know what it is about myself, and maybe that's why I work and I try to go as hard as I do, is because sometimes I feel like I'm not good enough, right? I do battle with that sometimes. I feel like I could be way better, or not even that I'm not good enough. That maybe I take that back. I don't feel that way. I feel like I'm behind, right? I've always felt like for some reason I'm behind. It doesn't matter if I'm headed. I could be in first place. Something in my mind is saying, "Hey, you should be in first place still, but you should be way up further." You know what I mean? And that's what kills me the most. And the thing that I try to do to keep my mind out of that mindset is, again, look at the people around me, right? Look at who I'm growing with. Look at the people that I thought that could have been at the very top that they're necessarily not. But just reminding myself that I do have a long way to go, reminding myself that I'm not in a bad space, and I have to constantly do that because I do. I have a constant battle with myself, feeling like I'm behind. I should be further than what I am. And to kind of give you a quick example, like I say, my first 3 years of hotels, right? I didn't think that I was going to have this career, but I was like, well, if I took it serious when I first started, where would I be at now?
Yeah.
I mean,
no, that's such a good point.
So, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, James. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's it.
No, I was just thinking, on our, on the previous episode, we talked about, you do what you do because of what you think of you, right? And sort of how the narrative that we tell ourselves oftentimes drives our behaviors, our actions, how we lead ourselves daily. And I was just thinking to myself, when you have this sort of thought of, hey, I feel like I'm a little bit behind, or there's always opportunity, right, to be better, to grow. Even if I'm in first, that doesn't mean that there's not still opportunity to grow. And I have to imagine that mindset of sort of always pursuing excellence, of always knowing that there's more opportunity. There's, our vision as a company, the constant pursuit to be better, drives some of your behavior and drives how you interact with people, but also how you lead yourself in your interactions with people and governing yourself. So knowing that you're, a leader who's always pursuing more or pursuing better for yourself and for the people around you, how do you use that sort of philosophy or those thoughts to drive some of those daily habits or those daily disciplines or things that you're doing day in and day out to to pursue that level of excellence, or to continue to grow, to be better?
It's a little bit more difficult question for me because I battle with that as well, right? I think for me, it's almost like a gift and a curse. Like I understand that failure is what helps you grow, right? I've been told that a lot, right? You learn from your failures. That's how you get to where you're at. But I also have this fear, this undesired, a crazy fear of failing. I have a crazy fear of, again, not being good enough. I have a fear of that. So that fear for me as an individual, I believe helps me stay afloat because I don't want to fall. I don't. There's something in my mind that tells me that that's not a thing. It's not okay. That's why I always tell people, if I say that I'm going to do something, I'm not perfect, but like 9 times out of 10, even if I don't want to do it anymore, because I told you I was going to do it, I'm going to do it anyway, because I can't be the guy to say, hey, I can't be the guy to fail. I can't be the guy to let people down. That's what hurts my heart the most, right? And then when it comes to working as hard, I feel like if I let myself down, I'm letting my family down. That's something that's a no-go. It's always going to be a no-go. So those are the things that kind of keep me afloat, to honestly help me wake up in the morning to keep moving, right? Because I do have a younger brother who looks up to me. I have plenty of people who I didn't even realize who looked up to me, that I realized in the last few years that I don't want to let them down. I don't want to let myself down, number one, but I really want to let them down. So that feeling, and then knowing that my parents are proud of me as well, I don't want that ever to change. So that feeling has to stay, and that's what helps me continue to try to strive and to be the best that I can.
Yeah, that's your why. You've probably heard this, but a lot of times people say, what's your why, or what's your purpose for doing these things? And I think you are literally describing what, how self-leadership, or leading yourself, impacts the people around you. You're talking about, hey, I do these things, right? So I can model the way, show the way for all of these other people, for people like your little brother, your family, the team around you. That your success, and the way you're carrying yourself, and the way that you're leading others, has a direct reflection on yourself, and really can help other people grow in their leadership, and inspire, motivate, model for them how they can do it for themselves. Are there any habits or things that you do, regularly, daily, monthly, weekly, that you think are a part of, how you've learned to grow in self-discipline, or to keep yourself on that path of success?
Yeah, definitely. That's a real quick, simple answer too, to be honest. Like, staying active is huge for me, right? Being able to play sports, right? Being able to go work out and spending time with my family. Like, playing sports and working out is what keeps me disciplined. Point blank. If I have to be able to go to the gym, I love to go 5 to 6 days if I can, but at least by 4, I have to, right? I also throw in, like I said, I play flag football here and there as well, because I want to be able to stay active. Being active makes me be disciplined, because I have to be able to take care of my body to do so, right? If I'm not healthy and I can't do the job, how can I, work endless hours if I need to, and show the team that, like, I'm tired too, but I can keep it moving, right? It'd be very, very difficult for me to do that if I feel like I wasn't healthy enough to do so. So that's the discipline part. And then we kind of spoke about it again, not to kind of repeat myself, but spending time with my family is the other side of it. Like, that's a reminder of, again, why I'm doing it, why I get up every morning, why I need to work hard, and why I feel the need to, like, show or be the example, in a sense.
Yeah, that's great. Those are great things. I love the thought of, you can't pour out of an empty cup.
Right.
And your job as a leader is to pour into other people. And if you're sitting there with an empty cup, and, that's why, we talk about health and wellness, and staying, whether you're filling your cup through movement, like you said, exercise, whether, it's good nutrition habits, whether it's good sleep habits. We know how important sleep is. Or maybe it's just hobbies, hobbies, friendships, all of those things help to your people's spiritual life. All of those things help fill us up, so that you can then pour into others. The same with growing, right, in your leadership capabilities, in your leadership competencies, or in your skills as a leader, whether it's in your individual department, or maybe you came into a position and you were like, hey, I'm not an expert in engineering, but if I'm going to lead this engineer, I need to fill myself up on some of these on some of these tasks or duties, so that I can, impart something upon this person, or help them be a good leader. But I love the thought of yes, you can't pour from an empty cup. So that's a fantastic leadership lesson, I think, for all of us. Did you find yourself, as you were getting into leadership, having any habits that you kind of needed to break? That maybe you kind of came into the position with, that you were like, I probably should try and work on breaking this habit, so that I can become a better leader for my team. And if so, how did you go about trying to, number one, being reflecting and self-reflecting and knowing that it was something that maybe you needed to work on, and how did you go about breaking that type of habit?
I could say that was probably, okay, well, the habit that I feel like I needed to break, I would say this, because I was able to start as a line level and work myself up. I feel as that I'm really, really relatable to pretty much everybody that I work with.
Yes.
Early on in my career, when for instance, when I first became a supervisor, and I had to supervise the people that I was literally on the same level with at one point in time. I think the habit that I needed to break is to understand the difference, that I am their supervisor. I'm not their friend, and I am a person who likes to build those type of relationships, not necessarily to be your best friend, but I feel like the more that better we get along, the easier it is to communicate, the easier it is to do anything at that point in time. And having to break or find the balance between them being kind and nice and friendly, and then also being their supervisor, their manager, their boss. That was probably the biggest challenge or thing that I had to break. And the way I had to do that, and honestly, I don't think there was one thing that happened that just said, hey, all right, I just turned it off. No, it took time. It took time. I will say that it took different experiences, or having to deal with individuals where you feel like that you can trust, that it didn't end up happening that way. And then what I mean by that is, if I'm asking an associate, somebody to do something that I feel like I know that they would do, instead of checking up behind them because I feel like I have that relationship with them, I would automatically believe that they would do that. But over time, I've learned, what, you never assume anything.
Mm-hmm.
You don't assume anything. The day that you assume something is the day that you hurt yourself. This is not that type of game. So the way that I break it is, I've been able to break that, I should say, is just learning from my experience. I can't say that there's one thing that literally helped me break that trend. But also just keeping in mind that if I'm going to be the leader, I have to lead by example. So if anybody's doing anything that I don't feel like I want them to do, then I need to be able to say something and explain why. And then over time, that has made it real easy for me to separate the two. So I can get the respect as their boss, but at the same time, be friendly enough with them so they feel comfortable enough to come to me with hopefully anything and everything. So I know that's not a like a nail on the head type of answer, but the best way I can say is just my experiences through time is what helped me kind of break that mold.
I think that's perfect. And I was just thinking myself, well, as Sam was talking about filling up her cup, and you talked about bad habits, I was thinking of a more defined way to think about it is, are you the type of person that does New Year's resolutions?
Yeah, here and there.
Can you think of one that did and stuck and how you made it stick?
I can tell you this: the one that has stuck is the one that I said last year, and that's making sure I'm going to the gym 4 times at least a week, and I've been doing that since January 1st or January 2nd.
Yeah.
That's number one. In the past, when it hasn't worked, it's because I'm too hard on myself. I'm way too hard on myself. I put myself in unrealistic situations. So
Keep it small.
right.
That's what we talked about, right? Keep it small. It's a body in motion stays in motion. So 1% is better than 0.
No, that's a great point. We'll look at small failures as excuses to give up very easy. And it's just like, I don't want to keep making diet references on every episode, but you decide to cheat one day and you're like, well, I already ate a crouton. I might as well go ahead and have the chocolate cake today, and then you let your failures be excuses for more failure.
All right.
Yeah, I love it. And James, when we talk about the bad habit, the sort of breaking of a bad habit, I think sometimes obviously we want like a super defined process to break it, but sometimes that's not how life works. Right. And I think that the real habit that you showed that's really definable is a habit of self-reflection. Mm. When you're talking, all I can think about is the fact that somebody who has a habit of receiving feedback and reflecting, understands that, hey, this is an area of opportunity. And that habit is what helped you learn the way to model and see that was something that a lot of times we can experience some failures right through those experiences. But if you don't, a failure is a failure. If you're not conscious enough to learn from it, then it's an opportunity, right? Just like you were mentioning earlier. And so, whereas you might have found yourself in some precarious positions early on, from a relational perspective as a leader, you had the presence of mind enough to reflect after maybe you got into some situations that you weren't ideal, enough to start to learn how to change that behavior and move down a different path. And so I think that, again, that's another fantastic lesson. Sometimes it can be hard to reflect, right? It's sometimes very uncomfortable, but you have to be disciplined in doing those things. And sometimes we want to put our head in the sand when we fail or whatever, but that's not what's going to help us, really grow from that situation.
Agreed.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah, I was gonna pass it over to Richard because I know Richard's super excited about something that he's gonna impart upon us.
So I'm hoping that I can get a couple ongoing segments going on in these things, right? So you're the first, so it'll either work or it won't work, and we'll move on with our lives. But somebody gave me feedback that we need segments to break down the episodes. And so the first that I want to do with every one of our guests is ask them to tell me a memorable hotel story. I think we all think we have them. We all say this all the time that I could write a book. So I'm kind of putting you on the spot to come up with something, whether it's funny or most memorable. And if I like it enough, I'll steal it, make it a chapter in my own book, and make lots of money off of it.
I'll just read the book and sue you. It's okay.
There you go.
It's all good. There's really two, and look, I'll give you one, and if we have enough time, I'll give you the other.
All right.
It's crazy because they both happen in the same hotel. I know this might sound wild, but the very, very first time I dialed 911.
Okay.
The very first time, I was already like 24 years old at the time, maybe 23, 24. And what makes me remember this so much is because I feel like if action didn't take place at the right time, there's no telling what could have happened, right? So basically, I'm at the front desk and I get a call. It's probably around like 10 o'clock, or because breakfast just ended, I remember. And a little girl, a child, she couldn't have been older than 7, maybe. She called down and literally said, "Hey, my dad needs help. He's in trouble." And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what? Like, you can hear as a child. I'm like, is she playing on the phone? I'm on the ocean front, so people play on the phone all the time. It's a regular thing. But something in my heart just told me, hey, like run upstairs and just check on it. It was a child. She said her father needed help, right? So I actually told the houseman to go up there, but he took too long in my mind, right? So I just told somebody to watch the front desk and I ran upstairs. I get into the room and the guy, I guess, had low blood sugar and he was having a seizure. He was in the middle of a seizure. I mean, he had like fortunately he defecated himself in the bed and he just couldn't move. And when I say the little girl was just sitting and I can tell she was so scared that the fact that if she didn't move and, you know, make the decision to call the front desk and have that training, I'm sure somebody told her how to do that, right? And I was able to call 911 and obviously they kind of walk you through on what to do. And that was my very first time in my mind. I don't say I saved his life, but I felt like I helped with the situation. There's no telling what could have happened. And then come to find out, those same people ended up coming back to the hotel, you know, year upon year upon year. And then when I moved hotels, they moved with me. Everywhere I went, they came and they stayed. And I haven't seen them in, I don't know, since before COVID. But I know, like, I almost watched I felt like I watched a girl grow up.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Because when you're 7 and you turn 10, you look different, you know?
Yeah.
So it was just, though, that's something that I can never, ever just like get out of my mind. And I know it's not like a extravagant story, but those are one of the hotel stories that I'll never forget. I'll just never forget.
No,
So.
that's such a reminder of the part that every single associate plays in that building, that you have the potential to make such a difference every single day. And you, so that's a wonderful story. And I'm so glad you had the sense of urgency, you know?
Yeah.
Because like you said, who knows what could have happened?
Exactly. So it sticks with me. It's and that's kind of a story that I actually tell people of why you never assume that everything is okay. You never assume that just because this person called and said, "Oh, I think I heard somebody yelling." Like, well, look, this is our hotel. We control it. Let's go check on it. You know. So yeah, you gotta stay up with the people, man. You gotta care. Have to care.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. Well, did you want to tell your other story? And if we don't like it, we'll just cut it out later.
Yeah, just cut it out, man. You know.
Hold on, I gotta first. That was a great story, James. We're ready to move on. Good. Now I got on. All right, James. You know, I think we got time for another story. Let's hear it.
So, the other story was there was this elderly lady, and we didn't know that she had dementia, brother. This is later on in the story. Elderly lady, she was staying in the hotel. When I mean elder, she had to be at least, I'm thinking like late 70s, early 80s, and she was by herself. And I remember her room needing to check out that day. She kept saying she needed to stay an extra day. So of course the front desk people, they're just extending her, authorizing her card, and it's good to go. But now we're on the weekend. Now it's the summertime, it's the weekend, we're sold out. Now she can't stay now. Her room is full of stuff. She can barely move herself. She has a walker. And I have to go upstairs and tell her, like, hey, unfortunately, he can't stay here. And then come to find out, she has dementia and she doesn't know where she's at. She doesn't know how she got there. She doesn't know. She really just doesn't know anything. And it put us in a spot to where morally, I'm not about to just kick this lady out. I mean, she could be my grandma. Literally, that's how I thought about it. So I ended up finding, I mean, she was coherent. She could talk. She knew that she was on the oceanfront. She just didn't remember how she got there. Because I was asking, like, is anybody with you? Like, it blew my mind that she was just by herself in the middle of the summertime, and you can barely move around yourself. Like, you need somebody to take care of you. So I was able to get her another hotel, but I couldn't just leave her alone. I couldn't just say, hey, find your way to that hotel. So I packed up my car. I packed up all the stuff. I packed her in my car. I drove her to the next hotel. And then I still had something in my heart to say, I can't leave her. Just check her into this hotel and just leave her and pass her on to somebody else. I can't do that. So I took due diligence and went through her stuff. I was like, yo, somebody's got to know you. Like, you have to have a daughter, somebody. So I ended up finding a number, and I called it, and it happened to be her daughter. Come to find out, her daughter didn't even know she was on the oceanfront, and she was from Hampton. Didn't even know. Did not even know. So it was just a simple fact of like, again, it might not be a crazy story, but it's a story that I can't forget because I feel like if I would have left the older lady just by herself, again, there's no telling what would have happened in the middle of the summertime. Like nobody really cares that much. Definitely when you have a bunch of tourists around, they're not worried about that kind of stuff. So I was able to get in touch with her daughter. Her daughter drove from Hampton, literally picked her up and took her back home. And her daughter just, obviously thanked me and this was real, just distraught because I apparently wherever she was supposed to be for one night and come back. I don't know who was supposed to do what or how they were supposed to do it, but I can tell you, she was at that hotel for about a week.
Yeah.
And so it also makes me think other things too, but I just know this. I couldn't leave her by herself. I just can't do it. It's not in my heart to do so. So that's all I got.
James, you have a heart for people. You have a spirit to serve and a heart for people. That's what we've learned today for sure.
And I was hoping for a good laugh, and you're gonna have me start crying over here.
I like it. I love it.
You don't want to hear the bad stories, I'm telling you.
No.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, all right. I think we got a few minutes left for another segment that I'm still trying to find a name for. We got rapid fire with Richard, decisive deep thoughts with Dick. We're gonna come up with something good here. But all right, so I need you to think deep. We're gonna go deep thoughts here. All right, so
I prefer rapid fire with Richard. I don't know about you, Jay.
Well, that's disappointing. But all right, James, what mythical creature, if you found out was actually real, would not surprise you?
A dragon.
Ooh.
It's just a dragon. You look outside and you see a dragon walking around. That's the most believable.
I'm gonna be like, well, no, I'm gonna say it doesn't blow my mind that maybe they were real at some point in time.
Gotcha. All right. Do you have any pets?
Yes.
If your dog could talk, what would it say about you?
And you're the best person in the world.
Oh. Best friends.
I spoil my dog, so
Okay.
I'm sure she loves me.
All right.
Wait, what's your dog's name?
Cuba.
Cuba?
Yep, Cuba. Like Cuba Gooding Jr., but I don't know why. I don't know.
Showing you the money?
Yeah, if I lied, she might say, hey, stop dropping me off at mom's house all the time.
Aww.
She might say that, but she'll say she loves me.
All right. What world record do you think you have a shot at breaking?
Goodness gracious. That's a hard one, man. I would say who can drink the most water.
Let's go.
You're swinging a gallon right now, aren't you?
Let's go.
Always got that by your side.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. If I put you on I'm not gonna make you sing right now, but if you had to, for $1 million, sing a song right now, what song would that be?
Oh goodness. Sing a song. Ooh, man. If not the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song, if not that, then maybe like Amazing Grace because I grew up on it.
All right.
Love that.
All right.
Come on, rapid fire, Richard.
Yeah, no, I didn't think the rapid fire would be my fault, not rapid, not you. All right, what was your last impulse buy? Your last, I just got to buy this thing for no reason.
Oh, for no reason?
Or, I mean, I don't know. What's an impulse buy? I'm overthinking these questions. What's the last impulse buy?
I booked a $1,500 trip for my girlfriend.
Woo!
Well, not for her. It's for us because I'm included. I had to make sure I enjoy myself too. But that was probably the most because I care about people a lot, obviously. But I'm the type of person, again, how I was raised, like I'm gonna get you what you need and not necessarily what you want. And I can't help it. This is the way I'm set up. But like I'm 31 years old. I have never bought or set up a trip like that for anybody else other than myself. Okay. So that's an impulse buy. That means I like it.
But where? You didn't tell us where.
Fort Lauderdale.
So fun.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Last one that makes the least amount of sense and might be the most thought-provoking. Tell me the punchline only to your favorite joke.
Yeah, too hard. Punchline only to my favorite joke. Favorite joke? I don't have a favorite joke though. I can think of I can think of a joke.
All right, just give me the punchline then.
How did the punchline go? Look, man, put me on the spot. Really, really. You got me.
I don't know. I don't know any jokes either, James.
All right, so
Yeah,
everybody
I
knows
hate
Kevin
when people-
Hart. Everybody know Kevin Hart. Does everybody know who Kevin Hart is? You know Kevin Hart.
Yes, yes.
So he had a stand-up 5, 6, 7 stand-ups ago before he was the guy he is today. He was talking about swole people, right? For no reason. Like why? And then he was like, this bodybuilder works for T-Mobile, and he's like, what are you so swole for? He's be in the office talking about some welcome to T-Mobile. Picking the phone and getting mad because they're on steroids. That's all I can think about. I don't even know the full joke.
That was good.
It doesn't matter. You've got two people who love stand up. So you're speaking right to us.
You
We
won.
love it.
Well,
You
I
win.
think that's all I got. I think we're ready to wrap this up.
Okay.
James, real quick, do you have anything that you want to, any sort of parting comments, anything you want to tell all of the, the folks watching? Obviously, we have a lot of emerging leaders, people that are probably looking at you, James, as someone that they aspire to be or be like. And lots of us out there who have a lot to learn from you. Anything that you want to sort of part on?
Yeah, just maybe one quick thing. Being like, it's super important to figure out like who you are as an individual. Number one, once you figure out who you are as an individual, it's going to be important to be confident about who you are as an individual, so you can make any moves in life that you want to. And as long as I feel like if you have those things, what can stop you? Yourself. So that's all I have.
I love it.
Yeah, thank you so much, James. You're going to be a tough act to follow for whoever's the number 2 interview.
Because I'm a winner. I win.
All we do is win. I like it.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Thanks, James.
Thank y'all. Have a good one, man.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Welcome back, everybody. What a great interview, and how wonderful it was to hear from somebody besides me and Sam. I am tired of listening to these two guys.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I think James offered a lot of great insights and a lot of leadership lessons on how we can all learn to lead ourselves well, and really the impact that we can have on others as we learn to model these leadership skills for others.
Well, I'm excited to wrap this episode up and plan for the next one. But in the meantime, everybody like and comment on the YouTube video, and that is how you will be eligible to win a free gift. We're going to choose one random winner by going through the comments, and we'll do it live on the recording. Scroll through and pick somebody. So if you'd like an opportunity for a free gift, and comment on the YouTube video.
So exciting.
Well, I think that's it for today. Sam, you got anything else?
Nope, I think that's it.
All right, what's our closing tagline?
We're supposed to say, let's lean in and get better together. Ding, ding.